Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everybody to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast. I'm Craig, joined as always by Jeff. And today we're going to get started with the rankings already for 2017. Draft's over, so we know who the rookies are, where they're going. So we might as well get some of our ranks to start the year. I mean, these will probably change a lot as we go, but it's good to get them down on paper, see who we think, where they are. And these running backs, man, I'm telling you, we talk about this all the time. Once you get past that top 10, it gets ugly real quick. I mean, they're fine players. It's just what you're going to have to pay for some of these guys. And there's going to be teams that these are going to be the running back ones on your fantasy team, and that's. There's a lot of people that you just don't know if they're going to do anything. But we'll get into all that in just a minute. In the meantime, make sure to check us out on Twitter at the FF Prophet. You can send us an email at fantasyfootballprophet@gmail.com or check out the website at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And also, just remember the review contest we have going on right now. Get your reviews done wherever you do reviews. iTunes is probably the number one spot, and 5-star reviews are definitely preferred. So hopefully we can get that. So send us our reviews. You can email us, fantasyfootballprophet@gmail.com. Let us know where you put the review on, what name you use. We can enter you into our contest for the Custom League podcast, which we'll be also doing for anybody who wants one, on our website. You can check that out. But if you want a free one, get into the contest. But here we go, Jeff. Running back ranks. This is going to be interesting because we have not seen each other's rankings.
So we each did the top 25 right now, and I will tell you that they are subject to change very quickly.
Definitely.
But I think it's pretty solid, and it'll give you a good idea of what you're looking at right away and why we think that the running back position is so important this year.
I think we just start at the top. That's how we're going to do it. We know who our top three are. That's not even a question. We know who the top three are. I'm interested to see what when you actually do it, what is the order we ended up going with? Number one, Jeff, who is number one?
Number one, I went David Johnson.
All right, David Johnson, which is probably going to be number one on most people's list, I would believe.
And did you do the same?
I did not.
And I already know who you went with then.
I went Le'Veon Bell.
Yep, Le'Veon Bell.
I put Bell number one this time. I don't know what. I think it's more of the offense. I think I'm more excited about the Pittsburgh offense, and I worry a little bit about Arizona. And Carson Palmer, is he going to drop off more? Larry Fitzgerald, is he going to drop off? Who are they throwing the ball to? Teams can key on David Johnson. You can't really do that with Le'Veon Bell. That's my whole thought process here.
Sure.
I mean, it was the same thing last year. David Johnson didn't slow down.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's kind of you can say that, but it was the same.
You can make a case for any of these top three, and obviously my number. The last guy we're talking about is Ezekiel Elliott.
Yep.
You can't go wrong with any three of these guys, and I totally understand your Le'Veon Bell pick because he can put up monster numbers from week to week, and then can definitely even out any. Yep. And his subpar performances are probably like 10 points. He's amazing. But for me, and after saying that, I still went David Johnson, Ezekiel Elliott, and then Le'Veon Bell.
Okay, but he can't go.
And none of them would.
That's why they're the top three in everybody's list.
Exactly.
There's not going to be one person that doesn't have them in their top three, and if they do it, they're just doing it for the heck of it to be different.
Exactly. And did you go Bell, Johnson, Elliott?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I went. So,
and I think we can both agree here. There's three, and then there is a giant drop off.
I think so.
I do too, and maybe people don't look at it the same way, but for me, it's a drop-off to the next three guys.
Well, my number 4, I think, could be more on that level, but I worry about the injuries, and my number 4 is LaShawn McCoy.
Mine as well.
And I think he could be there. I worry about how he's been injured a lot, it feels like, and it's never major, but there's always something.
I just don't think he has the ceiling these other guys do. I think with their offense and the way that they kind of play around it, Bell, Elliott, Johnson really can put up monster numbers. Where I think McCoy is somewhat capped. I mean, he's number 4, so you take this with a grain of salt. What I'm saying, but especially with that offense and how you've seen him used in the past, you kind of know where that line is. So that's why he's number 4 to me, and that's why he's kind of separated from that top tier, if you will.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I like him a lot, but yeah, he's not those three guys.
No.
So,
and like you said, he is getting a little bit older as well. So
and he's getting to that point where is he going to drop off? Some running backs it happens at 29, 30. Some can wait till 31, but he's right there.
It's coming, yeah.
So he's definitely, but he's clear number 4 for me. So number 5, I wonder if we have the same one here.
We might. This is where it gets interesting.
Yeah, this is where you could go a little. I put Melvin Gordon number 5.
I'm a big Melvin Gordon guy too, so I do have him at 5 as well. That's actually really so. That's good. So we're very on top of it right now. But I think we might. Honestly, I think to probably the number 7 pick, I think we're probably gonna have the same people, and then it'll start deviating.
Possibly.
But Melvin Gordon, I mean, what can you say? He had a great last year. Some people are going to say this is too high because they're going to think that his touchdowns are going to go down. What would you say about that?
I don't know if they will. I really don't. He had what?
12, I believe.
Yeah, overall and 10 rushing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they'll go down from that. I really don't. I said in the last show we did our AFC West preview. I think his yards per carry is going to go up. I really think he's going to be more in the mid 4s, 4.5 range, just because of how teams can't load up the box against him. So why he's going to be good.
And once again, he's going to be the goal line back. He showed he can catch the ball last year.
Absolutely no competition behind him. He's going to get all the carries.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why he can't repeat his numbers last year.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I just think he's going to have more yards. I think pretty much touchdowns should be similar, and I think he's going to have more yards. I really do. I don't see why he's not a top 5 running back.
Yeah.
And he has potential to jump up even higher. He can pass McCoy very easily.
He could, and you saw the jump he made from his rookie season to a sophomore. If he had any sort of increase in that again, where he got a little more explosive, he was hitting the holes, it was night and day. It was really incredible. So, and you wonder if that was, people said injury rookie year, but even if it wasn't, or even if it was, I guess, the strides he made last year to be a pro were significant, and so you have to believe that he's obviously putting the work in. And I'm very extremely high on Melvin Gordon. So 5, I love that we're matching up on that one.
Now this is, I think maybe we'll still have the same. I don't know. This is where it starts to get interesting. You could probably go in a million different ways with these orders.
Yeah, without a doubt.
My number 6 is DeMarco Murray.
Okay, not mine.
See, this is this is where it's going to start switching up
a little bit, but that's not that far off. So DeMarco Murray is my number 7 guy.
Yep.
So I'm 1 removed from him, but my number 6 is Jordan Howard.
Okay. And Jordan Howard, for me, I'll say, is number 8.
Number 8. So it's not that far off.
It's really not. It's still running back 1.
So DeMarco Murray, obviously there's a whole lot to love. The only reason he is 7 on mine, and if it wasn't for Derrick Henry, he probably would be number 5.
And again, we worry about the mileage he has on him.
Yeah, he's another guy.
It's
similar to McCoy.
That it's hard to predict the drop off, but it could happen. So there's a little more risk in there. It's a little more risk in McCoy and Murray just because the drop off could happen. There's not really the risk for Jordan Howard to have the drop off. Not with ability wise, team wise maybe if they're even worse than they were.
True.
They were pretty bad last year and he still put up numbers. So it's hard to say.
I think Jordan Howard is as safe as you get, and DeMarco Murray might he does have the absolute opportunity to put up better numbers fantasy wise.
Yep.
I think Howard is going to be better week to week, and I just don't see any reason why Tennessee. They have no reason to burn him out. They have Henry there. They have they have Corey Davis now. They have a little more for Mariota to work with. I just think that they're going to start getting into the spot where they would rather protect him in the situations when they can. So I think that'll hurt his value a tiny bit. But that's coming off of a great year, though.
It also shows the running back position now. Even a guy that we're worried is going to be losing some work, he's still up there.
Yeah. And what he did last year was nothing short of amazing. He really was a phenomenal player. So I don't want to take anything away from him. It's just a smart move to put Derrick Henry in there a little bit and give Murray a breather. And so that's why he jumped down to number 7, which is, he's a top 10 back, so you can't complain.
Yep. So, yeah, I had Howard 8, Murray 6. So my number 7 was Devontae Freeman.
Well, actually, this is actually lining up pretty well. Devontae Freeman is number 8 for me.
Okay, perfect. So our top 8 is the same guy.
Yeah.
So and with him, I got to watch him a lot more than I did before when it got to the playoffs run. I didn't watch a lot of Falcons games before that. And once I did really actually sit down and actually watch him play a full game, man, I was really impressed. Just I thought he's good. And that offense is good. I mean, I like Tevin Coleman too, but Freeman, I think how is he not going to be? He puts up these numbers, and it keeps happening. I just can't doubt it anymore. I did last year. I was really down on him. especially with Coleman there. But he's the guy. Coleman is the more of the change of pace guy, yet as good as he is too. So, but this is where the problem is. I don't want Devontae Freeman as my number one running back.
Yeah. I would have
to.
Yeah. I would have no problem with it. He's that good, but the reason he's number 8 on mine is because of Tevin Coleman. Because Tevin Coleman is a legit back. If he was on any other team, he would be a number 1 back. And Devontae Freeman, same thing. If he didn't have Tevin Coleman behind him, would probably go up the ranks. And they were in this offense that is freakishly good. So there's no telling how many touchdowns you can get from these guys.
Yeah, well, and this shows a lot too. Like, I mean, I like Devontae Freeman enough to have him number 7, but I still don't want him as my number 1. So if you're in an auction draft, get one of these top 5. If you're in a snake draft, you really don't have the chance. It's not really your decision depending on where you draft. If you draft in a spot where you can get one of those top 5 running backs, get one of them, because I feel like I think you need one, and I just really do, because it drops off here. You get those top 5 guys are pretty much sure things. After that, these are very good guys, but they're not 100% sure things. So I think Freeman will be really good, though. All right, number 9. Who's your number 9, Jeff?
Number 9 is where it starts getting to the point where they're very talented players, but they all scare the crap out of me.
This is very
And the one that scares me a little less than everyone else is Jay Ajayi.
All right, he's my number 9 as well.
Jesus, man. So. All right, so we're on the same page right now. So Jay Ajayi, I mean, what you had him on your team. What can you say about him?
He had 3 200-yard games. Like, that just doesn't happen. Like, and he's the clear guy. He's the clear running back there on an offense that should be a little better. I don't know how much better yet. I don't know. I like Devontae Parker there too, so I think that could help the offense overall. But again, like you said, I'm scared about it though. I have him ranked as a running back 1, but I'm scared about that. And
I think he could have some weeks that he really, really disappoints you, and that's scary to have as a number 1 back. But you'd start looking down the line, and he has the most upside, though.
And I don't see Damian Williams or Kenyon Drake taking over for him. And
no one's pushing him. Let's be honest.
So he's he's a sure thing in the way that he should be getting all the carries. I mean, you just don't have people have a fluke 200-yard game. That's happened. Jonas Gray, I remember from the Patriots, 3 years ago, but he did it 3 times. Like, there's that. I mean, at some point, that's not a fluke anymore. 3 200-yard games. So those games he didn't have 200 yards, he wasn't always having huge numbers, but he did well enough, and maybe would score a touchdown to keep you, just give you 10 points. I think he's that. He's that borderline running back 1, but once you get below this, there's a lot more question marks than even he has.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're the same top 9 guys, basically, just a couple switched around. It's sort of pretty clear.
And I think if we're talking about top 10, it stops at 9. I think Jay Ajayi, he does scare me a bit, but I think he has shown enough where any of those guys, if I had one of those guys, I would feel good about it.
And actually,
there's a lot more questions.
I did rank them by tiers, the top 3 in the top tier. These 6 were in my tier 2, and my tier 2 did stop at number 9. After number 9, so that is exactly what I was thinking too.
So this is going to be
started right
the
here.
big one, though. Who was your number 10? Because I think we could really deviate.
I think this is where we can start having big fluctuation here. Todd Gurley.
Okay, that's not that far off. I can't believe he's number 10, but
I can't either.
I put him at number 11.
See, we're right there.
But I just can't see a world. This guy is talented. There's no doubt about it. I really don't think he's a flop, a fluke, or anything like that in his rookie year. I think the offense will be a little bit better, and I think he's their best option. So I think they're going to have to figure out a way to get him going. And even last year, you looked at his numbers, and it's not like they were awful. It was just the fact he never had any big plays. He never had those breakout runs for 60 yards and a touchdown.
And here's the problem, too. Gurley, we looked at his numbers. They were, if you had been drafting him as a back-end running back 2 type player, it's fine. Again, even there, we rank him as not a back-end running back 2. He's a back-end running back 1, top-end running back 2. And
the reason why he's up to number 11 on mine is also because he's a true a true primary running back. Yep. And that is tough to find. So game in, game out, he will produce something.
Yep.
And you hope that TD number jumps up again.
Yep.
And all of a sudden he would be a back end top 10 guy. And then you have him for the correct value at least.
Yep. And he has potential to be a top running back. So that's a lot of it there. He has in one more year. I'll let him do one more. This is it. This is make or break for me right here with Todd Gurley. So, who's your number 10?
All right, it's going to sound like bandwagon, but if you really look at it, because I think he's going to be the absolute starting running back. I think he's a stud. He was a stud in college. I think he's going to be a stud in the NFL. I go Leonard Fournette. I just see with that offense, they drafted him so high, they have to throw him in the fire right away. No one behind him really is that impressive. And he just seems like a perfect fit for that offense. Yep. And there's no doubt he's going to get a ton of carries this year.
Yep.
So that's why I have him number 10. I know he's a rookie. You haven't seen him yet, but I was still pretty good. If he was my running back, and I realize he's 10, but if he was my running back 2, I'd be really excited about it.
He could. It's tough to say. Like exactly Jacksonville offense, we don't really know, but I think he's gonna get all the carries. Yeldon's gonna step in once in a while. It's gonna be Leonard Fournette show there.
Yeah, and what I love too is he's such a big running back.
Yeah.
You know he's gonna be the goal line back. I think he is going to get 10 touchdowns. Like he could easily get 10 touchdowns. So that's what I'll say. His rookie year.
Then basically, most running backs drafted. Not a lot of running backs have been drafted early in the last however many years. If they haven't always done that well. They've at least done good the first year. Even Trent Richardson.
That's true.
Richardson. He was drafted third pick.
Yeah, he did. He scored
he had a
12
good
touchdowns
rookie year.
Stupid.
Yep, he had a good fantasy year for his rookie year, and then after that it was gone.
Did that guy screw me over?
But see what they do when they get a running back this early? They use him.
Yeah.
At least the first year. And if he fails after that, then that can be Trent Richardson again.
Right.
But for the first year, he's going to get all the work. So you're going to at least get at the minimum, you're going to get Todd Gurley numbers from last year,
right?
Which could be just okay. And, that's the worst I think you're going to get.
Yeah, I don't think you'll get completely burned.
No,
by that
exactly. He's going to be good enough where if at his absolute worst, he's going to be getting you 8 points a game.
And you did see this. I don't think he's going to be as good as Elliott, obviously.
Yep.
Right. He's not Elliott. He's not going to Dallas.
If he had been on Dallas in that situation, yes.
But when everyone said you want to draft him in the top 5 last year, everyone was like, a rookie, no way.
Yep.
And it paid dividends. So don't sleep on rookies, but they have to be in a good spot, and I think Fournette is.
I have Fournette 13. So
okay, so not that far off.
Not that far off.
So who is your number 11 then?
Player I'm not terribly excited about, Lamar Miller.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, man. I mean...
It's just
I truly don't believe in the guy. So he dropped all the way to number 16 for me.
Yeah,
which for him is probably going to be really low on a lot of people's lists. I like his backup now that they drafted. I don't really think Lamar Miller is overly
he's
attractive.
I'm not excited about it.
And they really haven't fixed their passing game, which I think would really help Lamar Miller. So
you don't believe in Tom Savage?
You know what I mean?
Deshaun Watson,
old Tom.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, and Lamar, he's not. Again, he had 4 yards per carry last year, just over 1,000 yards.
Yeah, he didn't do.
He's
bad.
fine. Like if he gets most of the work.
How many touchdowns did he have?
He had 5 rushing touchdowns last year. I don't have the receiving numbers right up in front of me, but Foreman could get work, and
I think Foreman will get work.
I still think Lamar. I think he's going to be good. See, that's the problem when you get to this spot. He's more the reason he's probably 11 compared to some of these other guys. I feel like there's probably less risk. He's more of he could put up those Gurley numbers from last year, that kind of thing.
I'll give
it's
you
more
that.
of a less risk because
I will give you that. Yeah,
even if Foreman takes away some carries, I think Miller's going to get the majority of them and just still be safe enough. Yeah. And I see more risk with some of these guys I have below him. That's kind of where I went.
And just to fill in, if anyone is listening right now, and we're talking about Foreman, we're talking about Deontay Foreman, and he was a Texas running back that
put up huge numbers.
Yeah, and he was a Doak Walker winner. He was very, very good. And he's a big running back, so he's like the opposite of Lamar Miller. So I do think he's going to take away any goal line chances that Miller would have, and so that's why Lamar Miller dropped in my point of view. But he only dropped to 16. It's not like a crazy drop. If you know, what I mean, he'll fluctuate if you believe in him or not.
Who's your number 11? We didn't get to your number 11 yet, did we?
Number 11 was Todd Gurley for me.
Okay. Yep.
So we're at number 12.
Fournette and then Gurley. So number 12. My number 12 is Carlos Hyde.
My number 12 is Carlos Hyde as well. And does this one scare you a little bit?
Yes, it scares me.
I love Hyde, but
it's. I mean, there's many reasons it actually scares me. San Francisco's not any good. Who's their quarterback? Is Brian Hoyer? Right,
Hoyer. Yeah.
Which actually I don't mind Brian Hoyer.
Yeah, he's fine.
He's fine, but still, the team's not good yet. Carlos Hyde seems to be injury prone a little bit here.
That does scare me.
And I feel like the team is not sold on Carlos Hyde. That is a big thing.
That's the one that worries me the most. You hear a lot of stuff coming out that pretty much Hyde isn't guaranteed not his spot, I should say, but as a starting running back, they almost want to move on from him because of those injury concerns. And that is, first of all, that's crazy because Hyde looks crazy good when he's healthy.
I think he's good. I really do. But they went and drafted Joe Williams, who could be okay, but they drafted somebody. It just really, honestly, if you draft anybody in the first 4 rounds of an NFL draft position, first 3-4 rounds there at running back, you feel like you might have a need, I think.
Yeah.
And you're hoping to hit. They also brought in Tim Hightower. And they actually just traded for Capri Bibbs from Denver randomly. That was a random. I don't know why they traded for him.
Yeah.
It was they're bringing in running backs. So it does worry me with the talk.
So
and it might not even be the ability. It might be they just feel like Hyde's injury prone.
Yeah, and I think that would be a big part of it. And I think that's why they brought in Hightower. Yeah. And you have these guys that can back him up. But definitely the talent's there. Yeah. And I love him, but he's probably going to be one of those backs that if I hear some negative stuff, he's going to start slipping on my board.
I'm ranking him right now as I feel like he's the guy. That's kind of what I'm... And if he's the starting running back, I think the numbers are going to be top 12 numbers. Yeah, if we hear more and more rumblings, he'll drop down. Yeah. That's for sure.
He's one of those guys that scares me a bit, but I love him when he plays.
Yeah. As of now, he's a top 12 guy. Yep. Yeah, my number 13 was Fournette. We already went over Fournette a little bit. So who's your number 13?
Oh, I was like, my number 13 is actually Marshawn Lynch.
Okay, Lynch. That's the biggest wild card. I don't know where to put Lynch.
Yeah, you don't know where to put him. But in my point of view, I think he's going to do better than his last season at Seattle. I think he's the biggest back there. He's going to be goal line. And he's just a much more talented back than the other two that they have. Yep. I think Oakland could really use that kind of grind them out mentality and really help open it up for Derek Carr. So I think they got him for a reason. I think Marshawn Lynch, at least for this 1 year, will be very, very good. And he could drop a little bit. I would have no problem with that. But at the same time, I think he's the go-to guy in this offense. And the guys below, like I said, has more question marks. So Lynch starts creeping up there a little more for me. So number 13.
I put him 15. So
right.
Not far off. And there's question marks there. Was that last year in Seattle? Was he really in a downturn? What was that? What caused that? Was he falling off? Maybe he was just injured, and the year off helped.
Yeah, I think
he was offensive line.
He only played 7 games, and his yard per carry was terrible. But that was the only time it's ever looked that bad.
Yeah, and it's just a lot of question marks. We just don't know. But again, in this spot, there's a lot of question marks everywhere at running back. So we know how good he was. So will he still be that? And he's the guy. So
Marshawn Lynch, 13 for me, 15 for you. Yep. Who was your number 13?
I had Fournette.
Who was your number 14? I'm sorry.
Oh man, I hate this list. I'm telling you, I'm not these guys are just. It's Mark Ingram.
Okay.
And
I can see that. That's totally fine.
I would have been completely okay with this. I probably would have had Mark Ingram higher if Peterson didn't sign there and they didn't draft Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, he has crazy good backups.
Yeah, and he probably would have been my 10 if it wasn't for this situation.
Yeah, I would have
his
been
numbers
okay
were good. It really were. This is just, what is Adrian Peterson going to do to this?
Yeah, AP really hurt Mark Ingram's value for me.
Yeah, it did, and I can drop Ingram more. I'm still keeping him right here for now. But
the thing about that, and I have Mark Ingram at 17, so I have him dropped. But the thing about this, we're not going to know until we get closer to the season, which really hurts AP's value, and it hurts Mark Ingram's for me for now. So those two are definitely going to be fluctuating. And one injury, the other guy's going to skyrocket.
But maybe this offense could be good enough where it can sustain 2 guys.
It probably can, but if you look in the past, Hightower got some carries.
And that's kind of what I'm looking at.
They spread the ball out really well.
Hightower got plenty of carries last year, and Ingram still had pretty good numbers. So that's kind of what I'm banking on, I guess, there.
Yeah.
Who's your 14?
I actually went, and you're going to love this one. I have Isaiah Crowell.
I thought I had him high.
Who do you have him at?
I have 17.
Okay. Isaiah Crowell is one of those sneaky guys that I think will always benefit you to have, and you never really have to pay for him that much.
That's
obviously that doesn't go into number 14 status necessarily, but he's had a solid year, and I think he gets forgotten because of Cleveland.
Yep.
But he's a good running back. Unfortunately on a bad team, but they're starting to do the right things, and I think they're going to have to implement a good run game in order to really help out that QB situation because we don't even know who's going to be the guy yet. So, and especially if Gordon doesn't come back, their wide receiving core is going to be lackluster to say the least as well. So I just love the amount of carries this guy is going to get.
Yep. All right. Where are we at? 15?
Mm-hmm.
My 15 was Lynch.
Okay.
Who's your 15?
I'm going high on the rookies, but Christian McCaffrey came here just because it looks like he is going to be outright the guy there. I have some real concerns about the Panthers and the way they use McCaffrey, but I just don't see how he's not going to get a ton of work, especially in the passing game. So I put him at 15, mostly because the guys underneath him I don't believe in as much. I think he has a ton of upside, and that's what I do love about Christian McCaffrey. But I also think I could be, drafting him as a number 2, and then if I use him as a flex, I'd be lucky. Like, he could have those games.
Yep. All right. Where'd I have him? I don't even know. I'm trying to find my list here. I don't even know. Did I forget?
No, you forgot about him?
I think so, man.
I mean, that's not that far off, though.
So.
I mean, you could easily just say, hey, because his backup was the starter last year.
Yeah.
So if he stays healthy, he probably won't get goal line work. So if you didn't have him in the top 25, I don't think that's that crazy.
No, I didn't. I guess not. He's probably 26.
Right.
But not. I was wondering, maybe I should have him higher, though.
It's one of those that, especially with these rookies, the more you hear about them in the offseason, the better you're going to get a feeling. Because, I mean, who's his backup? Help me out here.
Why am I'm just drawing blanks right now, man.
For low guys.
Losing my mind, man.
But, yeah. So, the thing about him is that offense is in such disarray right now. I think that they're going to really try to use him as much as possible. And that's why I think, and Jonathan Stewart is the guy I was trying to think of. And Jonathan Stewart wasn't necessarily bad. He's just been so banged up all the time. So if he stays healthy, I think he could steal a lot of carries from McCaffrey. But right now it looks like he's going to be the guy. So I put him at number 15.
Yep. All right, and actually I redid this quick. I decided to make a change because I do feel like McCaffrey should be up here. He's my number 20. That's where I'm putting him in. I had him. He needs to be in there. And I'm going to put him 20.
All right. And I'll tell you my 16th and 17th because we've already went over them. That was Lamar Miller at 16. 17 was Mark Ingram.
Yep.
Who are 16, 17 for you?
Eddie Lacy is my 16.
Okay.
And again, we don't 100% know the situation yet, but I feel like they signed him for a reason to be their main guy. So not excited about it. I really want to see more once we get going on what's going on there, but I think he has potential to be a guy you can get for a decent price and get him there. And the 17 was Crowell.
Okay.
Yep. Number 18.
I have Spencer Ware.
So do I.
Oh, good.
All right.
And once again,
are you excited about it?
No.
That's the story of the running back.
He's the starter. Yeah, he's the starter right now. A lot of these are subject to change because you don't actually know who's. I think Spencer Ware is going to be the starter. You just don't know what kind of workload he's going to get. So, and that's why he's there, because after that, it really gets kind of gets iffy with who's going to start and who's not for me. But that's Spencer Ware. You have him at 18 as well. Yep. Who do you have at 19?
Frank Gore.
I love that. I actually have Frank Gore at 21, and I thought I almost want to push him up higher. I just get really afraid.
We got a lot of Frank Gore love in our AFC South preview show, just seeing his numbers and how he sustained it. And I don't think age matters to him at this point.
Yeah, it might not. At some point you've got to fall off. The thing I love about him the most is because he's going to go for nothing.
Yeah,
and
exactly. That's what I like about it too. And I think he's going to. There's no reason to doubt him at this point that he's going to put up good numbers. There's just solid.
This is about right though. I have him at 21, and you have him at 18, right, or 19. So that's about right though, because if you could get him as a back end running back 2, or you sneak him in as a running back 3,
that's perfect.
Yeah, that would be awesome, especially for save money you can spend elsewhere. So that'd be great.
Who was your 19?
19, I actually have C.J. Anderson.
Okay. I don't actually have... He's not in my top 25.
And I don't blame you. Right now, I kept him there, and this guy could drop like a rock if Jamal Charles really is back healthy. I don't think he's going to drop out like my top 30 by any means, but he could really... His position could change by 7 spots easy.
The interesting thing, just looking at this, I don't really like the 10 through 20 range because I feel like those guys, just too many question marks, but I kind of like it when it gets beyond 20, and I like the upside with a lot of these guys in 20 to 30 range.
Upside that you don't necessarily have to pay for.
Yeah, that's what I like about here. So I didn't have him in my top. Who was your 20? Mine was McCaffrey. Now
McCaffrey. I have Robert Kelly.
Okay, see, I dropped Robert Kelly out of my top 25 as well. He was in my top 20 up until the other day. The reason he dropped out is, man, the more I look at it, the more I think about it. Samaje Perine, my guy, is going to be taking his carries away. I really think that's what's going to happen.
I don't doubt that, but I'm
talking myself into it.
I was going to say, but that's fine. But he is only, I mean, how many carries is he going to take away?
A lot.
Because you don't think Robert Kelly is going to be
50-50.
Okay, so
75 for P. Ryan. He's in my top 30.
Even if they're 50-50, though, I feel safe because I think Robert Kelly will start at least the year.
I don't know what it is. Maybe I dropped him. He was in my top 20 up until yesterday.
All right. I'm acting as if he's still the starter.
I just
thinking that he has to get the bulk of 70% of the.
I mean, I went big on Samaje there in that last week, and I think he's going to be the breakout guy here.
I would hope so because that would be great to be able to call that. I just don't know enough about that guy yet.
Oh, he's running back one material. All right.
And 21, I was Frank Gore. So who was 21st for you?
Tevin Coleman.
Oh, I love Tevin Coleman. Yep, and obviously the only reason he's that low is because he's behind Devontae Freeman.
We've talked about this too. If Freeman goes down, he's a running back one, I think.
Exactly, and he's a backup, and he made both of our top 25. So he's number 24 for me.
Yep.
And you know that he's not going to be the primary back. So, so who do we have at 22 then?
I bet he's not in your top 25. Amir Abdullah.
Amir Abdullah did miss out. I ranked a little farther just in case, but Amir Abdullah hit 28 for me. And he just burnt me so badly, and he's kind of injury prone.
Yeah, and this is hoping there's no injury, and if there's no injury, then yeah, he's there. So I'm just kind of at this point, I don't have to really do anything with this yet. So I'm going to rank him like I think he's going to be playing.
He could easily move up this board really, really quickly because he's a very talented and shifty back, and especially if they don't sign anyone else, he's clearly the most talented runner they have. Yep. So I totally understand that one. He didn't make my top 25, but I can easily get behind that. Mine 22. I'm going a little bit out on a ledge on this one because Forte is still there, but I really like Bilal Powell's chances, and he made number 22 for me.
More talk is that he could be the starter. I don't have him in my top 25 yet, but
he should be the starter. But
if we know for sure, he'll jump up.
Yeah, even with that though, Forte is probably still going to take a large chunk in the beginning of the year. But that's why he's number 22 for me and not higher.
Yep.
If he was a starter, oh man, he could easily make his way up to probably around 15, 16, something like that for me.
All right, where are we at? 23.
23. And my 23 was Eddie Lacy, so we can skip that one. Who's yours?
Adrian Peterson.
Okay, AP just missed mine. He's number 26 for me.
I'm just kind of putting him there. It's just, we'll see what he is. It's hard to say. We don't know the situation yet.
Exactly. And like I said, those two guys are very dependent on each other and depending on what happens in the offseason and what we see from them. So that was 23. Number 24, mine was Tevin Coleman.
I have Latavius Murray, and barely. He's 2 spot. I don't have Cook in the top 25, but he's like right there. So this is, again, just waiting to see what the situation is in Minnesota. So Murray's still in my top. He's still there, but I think Cook is going to definitely take a lot of the work away. So we just got to see what.
Yeah, and both of those guys, Cook, I have him ranked higher than Latavius Murray.
I thought about too.
But they're both down there because I don't really know what to do with them right now. And they're on such a bad offense too that I'm not that excited about them. I think both of them are going to be playable, to be honest, but they're both going to be kind of back end.
I'm probably going to stay away.
Yeah, it's just kind of scary, and we might get a better picture of that. But my final one, number 25, was actually Doug Martin. Even with the suspensions, he's going to be the number one guy when he comes back. They're absolutely in love with him right now. So I factored in the fact that he's going to miss a few games, and that's why it dropped to number 25 for me. But Doug Martin just seems like he's going to come out and have one of his better years. And the problem with that, you're probably going to have to overpay for him because people are going to pay like he's starting every 16 games. So that might deter me from going after him. But
he's my number 25 as well.
Is he? Oh, nice.
I thought about Ty Montgomery there because I'm still waiting to see what that's going to be. But the Packers drafted so many running backs that you got to think that he might not get quite as much work. But I have Martin there despite the suspension. So he's going to be a guy I think you can get really good value if you can get him and you can sustain not having him for a couple games. You're going to be in good shape when he comes back.
And just to give everyone an idea, the other guys that were close to making my list that got edged out was AP, Cook, Jeremy Hill, Abdullah, Latavius Murray, Ty Montgomery, and then Derrick Henry. So
yeah, they're kind of a lot of those guys are actually in my top, but some of the other ones, they're all about the same there.
Murray and Cook, I have too close to one another right now. One of them will jump up, and one of them will get pushed down a bit. And Derrick Henry is another one. Absolutely love the guy, but it's impossible to put him in the top 25 right now if Murray is going to get that bulk. I just can't do it right now.
This will definitely change as we go.
Oh, yeah, this is definitely going to change. But, I mean, it shows you that we're kind of on the same page. We're very close on a lot of these.
This is the top for sure.
Yeah.
Once you get past that, it can go either way.
I think it does show you the clear cut. So I think you definitely have to go for the guaranteed guys. And then after that, you can take some chances down low.
Yep.
Like Jeremy Hill, with Joe Mixon coming in. Was Joe Mixon on your radar?
He's probably in my top 30, really close to it, but Hill's right there too. A lot of these guys I put in like side by side because you don't know the situation.
I think
yet.
And those guys you start looking for. I think Hill could have good value, even though he's down there for me, almost number 30. But I think he could have good value because Joe Mixon can come in and stir it up. AP could be cool. And then Ty Montgomery, I really don't know what to do with him, but if he stays the running back,
then he's going to be up there. Yeah, it's hard to say they drafted so many guys. So
yeah, and I don't think they're going to stop using him. I just think
late.
He's going to be inconsistent.
Yep.
But he might be a cheap guy you can pick up, which is great.
All right, I think that's it for our running backs.
Top 25 early.
We'll probably get into wide receivers next week, maybe quarterbacks. I don't even know. Wide receivers, there's so many.
Yeah, we should definitely do wide receivers.
I'm thinking so. There's just oh man, that's going to be all over the place.
Yeah, we're definitely not going to be close on that one.
Except for the top 4.
Right.
Yeah. The top 7, actually.
Yeah, top 10 maybe.
All right, well, make sure you guys follow us on Twitter at the FF Prophet. Get your reviews in. Send them to fantasyfootballprophet@gmail.com. And we will talk to you guys next week.